Hey friends, today I'm in my west facing side garden, pruning it back in late winter and taking a closer look at the perennials starting to break dormancy. It's always exciting to see new growth emerging. Let's check out what's happening in the garden. Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden. And before we dive in, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with a fellow gardening friend. Okay, it is February 25th in this video. It is going to be 74 degrees today, which is crazy because less than a week ago we were in single digits. And I was looking at the 10-day forecast and we're not getting anywhere near close to freezing. The closest we're getting is about 45 degrees. And I'm kind of excited. So this is my favorite thing to do coming out of winter, and that is pruning. And we are going to focus on the west side of the garden today. That's where I'm standing. So west is kind of like that direction. And after about noon, this gets full sun all day, which is glorious. It takes quite a beating over here. And this garden was really my COVID project. I did this when we were all in lockdown, and it was excellent therapy. I really enjoyed it, but I am dying to get in here. So we're just gonna go section by section. I'm gonna talk about the different sections, or we're gonna prune things up, clean things. I'm also gonna be observing for a few different things. I'm gonna be observing for pests and diseases. I'm gonna be keeping an eye on my drip irrigation, seeing if I see any issues there. And then also I'm gonna be keeping kind of just like a list in the back of my mind of things that need to happen in this garden. I've already got a couple, and so I'll talk to you about it as we go through. Let's go. Okay, so I need to hook back up my drip irrigation system. Now, my lawn got scalped today, so you're gonna see a lot of grass and such in here. And basically, as I'm pruning, I'm just gonna throw everything out to the side and gather it all up at once. Now, let's start right back here. This is a lantana. Lantana is hit or miss for me in regards to, you know what, let me grab gloves before I get too far in this, or I'm going to give myself a blister. Okay, back to lantana. So lantana is hit or miss for me in regards to being consistently coming back. We did get some pretty cold freezes, especially last week. So I'm not sure what this will end up doing. And my lantana don't actually start to show up until May, sometimes towards the end of May. And so I am going to cut this back, but I'm really just going to leave about 3 inches of it above ground so that I know where it is and I don't try to plant other things here, which I'm notorious for planting things right over other plants and forgetting that they were there. And then I am going to pull out a little bit of grass. Now, I am not going to be massively pulling back like all this leaf mulch and stuff that you see. I'm going to leave that for now because, like I said, we still might be expecting freeze or two before my last frost date, which is mid-March. That already looks a million times better. We have lots of beautiful daffodils coming up. Some of them are a little sad because we had some really intense freeze, but I think they'll end up being okay. Daffodils are pretty hardy. Okay, this area right here, this is a Caryopteris. Last year was its first year in my garden. I believe this one is the blue, like blue pavilion or something like that. And sorry, I'm pulling weeds as I'm looking. There'll be a lot of me getting distracted. I'm pruning. It's already started putting off some new growth. So what I'm doing is I'm just cutting down to the new growth, which is about 6 inches above the soil line. And I loved having Caryopteris in my garden. It was a bright punch of color when I don't have a lot going on. The bumblebees, the pollinators, are obsessed with it, which is super cool. It was always covered in pollinators, and it was just such a fun, joyful plant. Very interesting blooms. They're very cool looking. And so if you're looking to add something to your garden this year, I highly suggest the Caryopteris. I would not mind adding a few more in some different places. So we're just giving this cut back, maybe about 12 to 6 inches. Let's see, we got a few other things to clean out back here. Now this guy right here these are old zinnias. These are annuals. Annuals can come out. And this grass is a, what do you call it? Purple fountain grass. Check that out. Check out those roots. And it will not come back. And I'm actually going to be changing out this container right here for a more sturdy, hardy container. So we'll just leave that there for right now. Now it's a little too early to be trimming my boxwoods. Probably do that in April, maybe around Easter. Give them a nice clean back, cut back. Right here is my lamb's ear, and this is Helen von Stein. And we're going to give it a pretty massive cut back because I don't like the look of all of its like dead stuff. It looks pretty rough, you can see. And it has tons of new growth, and if I don't cut it back enough, the new growth will come right through all this old dead stuff, and it's not pretty. So I'm just going through, making some cuts. I might cut through some of the new growth, but that's okay. This is a big plant. And you can be pretty brutal pulling some of this out. I get a lot of people when I start pruning stuff, they say, oh, don't prune because of the beneficial insects and stuff. And so if I don't prune in stages, I'll never get it all done. So I can't wait until spring actually hits to do that. So by doing it this way, I'll do a little bit by a little bit. Now, in order to help out with the beneficial insects, I can just take all these trimmings and put them in a big pile in my backyard. And just leave them there for like the next month. And all the beneficial insects in there will have their opportunity to wake up and do their own thing. So if you're worried about that, just don't throw your trimmings away. Make them a pile somewhere. Or wait, you don't have to do what I'm doing right now. I'm definitely going to do some weeding along the way too, as I'm looking through all this. Now this Helen von Stein, I've divided it multiple times. Recently I put a whole bunch of it, I divided it and put a whole bunch of it under the smoke tree, and it looks glorious already. So that'll be a really fun show this year to see all that coming up. All right, continuing to shift down. Now in here, might be a little confusing, I have several Foxglove in here, but it's also mixed in with some weeds. So right now, I'm really looking, I recognize where the Foxglove is. So this is Foxglove, Foxglove, Foxglove. And so I'm coming through and trying to pull up some of the weeds. The soil's pretty moist right now. I do have some perennials in here, some phlox perennials, which I do see them starting to come back in a couple of places. So that's exciting. And then this right here is sedum, autumn joy sedum. It definitely looks like we have a lot of clover going. This right here is, and I'm not going to pronounce it right, but it's a verbena. I'll put it down below. It's like bona something. It's right here. It keeps reseeding itself in different places, which I'm obsessed with. I think that's a great thing because it is such a beautiful plant and just really holds up to our hot weather, and it's glorious. And I'm just running my hands through some of the soil where I have a lot of this like weeds coming up. This is just such a fun time to just go through little by little through your garden, observing each plant. making plans, which is exciting. So one of the things I know that I want to do this year is right here in this blank space. I want to put a trellis. I want a pretty tall trellis. I want to get it off Facebook Marketplace. But I always have a blank wall right here. And I think that that would be really nice. I'm also going to put some taller plants this direction as well this year. I wouldn't, oh, I already got dirt in my mouth. Yay, spring. I would really like to put a climbing rose on that. So we'll be looking into that as well. And this right here is more of that verbena. I'm just going to cut off the taller parts. And my mulch order, I ordered all my mulch from the band, the marching band. And that should be coming in a few weeks. And that's when I will start mulching everything. This right here is another Caryopteris. This is a pink one. I actually think that this guy is going to end up getting moved to the backyard. But we'll go ahead and trim that up for now. I left just a few inches. It's not putting on near the growth that the other one is, but I remember that this one was later to wake up last year too. The pink one was. All right, so we have some more of the verbena coming up through this area right here, but also this plant right here that I'm messing around with, this is an oxeye daisy, and it only shows up for like early spring and then it dies back. But it's one of the original plants I planted in this garden, not here. I planted it in a total different location. But I like it. I don't love it, but I like it, so I leave it. And then right beside it, we have some more of the Helen von Stein lamb's ear. This back here is an Outlast rose. Looks like we got some weeds back here. I'm not getting all the weeds, getting some of them though. And some more Helen von Stein. Okay, right here is a double bridal wreath spirea, and it had already started putting off buds, and then we got a freeze. So I don't know what that's going to look like for this year. You do not want to cut back a spirea right now, or you would cut off all of the blooms that it's going to produce. Over here we have some verbena that had reseeded itself, and we've got some, oh, I think I just pulled out part of my drip lines. So we've got some old annuals. Let's clean that out a little bit. I can get this plug back in. Okay. Might have to check that later for where I just plugged that in to see if it is leaking. Now, I did have some verbena over here that I had let go to seed over here to spread it around. I'm going to leave it there for now. I might not want it there anymore. I'm not sure. Okay, this whole section, you can see daffodils starting to come up. The long, thin, skinny leaves are Muscari. So basically I'm just going to start running my hands through here. There's some annuals in here too. Let me pulling out Might send a few Muscari bulbs with it. I'm just going to start running my hands through some of this, trying to pull out some of the leaves and debris that's in here. Now that I have Muscari, I don't know if I like it. Yeah, I should pull it up. I mean, now's a good time. It's easy to pull up. I mean, it's going to be blooming soon. Maybe I'll let it bloom. I'll let it bloom and then I'll pull it after. I don't love it because, not because of the flowers. The flowers are gorgeous. It's this stringy leaves that I don't like. And they're there like for months on end. Just not a fan. Looks like I have some pansies trying to come back up in here too. Okay, this is another double bridal spirea. These are a bunch of my clippings that I had out here because I didn't realize my lawn crew was coming today. So they threw just a lot of them into the bed. I should have had it cleaned up before they got here. And just pulling out some old annuals over here and another lambs here. Okay, making my way this way. I don't know what a lot of this is that's coming up here. Maybe weeds. I have all kinds of stuff in my hair. Okay, I have a couple of peony rings right here. And the dried that's in here is balloon flower, purple balloon flower. And it's a perennial in my area. Don't love it, but I appreciate what it does. It blooms its little head off for 2 or 3 weeks, and then it goes dormant. It just works great. Works great for me. And this is another one right here. And then right here in between, I've got a dianthus. I can't recall what that dianthus is. And then back here, if you guys can see, there's 3 plants back here. These are my thistle that I grew from bare root last year. And I'm really hoping that this year that they are going to bloom. They did not bloom their first year. I have a lot of people ask, well, what if you don't know if it's a weed or a plant? Just leave it. Leave it, let it grow on a little bit. The worst thing to happen is that you got to pull it up later. Okay. So this crazy plant right here is an aster, bluebird aster, and it's already putting off a ton of new growth. And then also back here is purple coneflower and some more verbena. And the purple coneflower I started from bare root last year, and it grew beautifully, and I hope it keeps getting bigger and bigger. It can get up to like 5 feet tall, which is fabulous. Okay, here we have a bearded iris. This variety is called, not that. Let's see if I see it. Let me pull some of these dead leaves out. And once I start pulling out some of these dead ones, you can really start to see a lot of the new growth coming from down low, which is cool. And I like this whole process. It just gives me looking at every plant. It's good. This clump really needed to be divided, but it's too late now. I'll have to divide it in August. August and September are good times to divide out bearded iris. Okay, and this particular bearded iris is called, oh, tag's looking rough down here. Oh, Autumn Sunrise, and it was glorious blooming last year. Absolutely glorious. These pansies are going to get very quickly replaced up here, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull them. They're going to get replaced with a lot of my petunias. And recall what this is right here. I think it's an annual. I'm going to go ahead and just cut it down because I can't remember. It might be a lantana. I can't remember. And this boxwood has been in for a couple of years. It's definitely ready for a trim this year. This right here is chocolate cosmos that I very much hope comes back. If not, I save seeds. So we'll start some from seed. I love chocolate cosmos. There's nothing like it. And I'm not cutting all the way down to the ground, leaving about 2 to 3 inches. There's also a coneflower mixed in here. I think it's a bubblegum. Double scoop bubblegum. And the cosmos gets very floppy, so I have a lot of peony hoops in here to support it. Now this right here is an aster called Crimson Brocade. I do hope to move it this year to the backyard. It doesn't get enough space. Back here we have some more verbena. And back here's also where I'm going to be planting some tiger lily bulbs, some gladiolas, and then I would also have been considering putting a trellis here as well. I also have purple echinacea back here too. I really kind of want a little bit of a flower, wildflower-esque feel back here. A little wild at the back of this patch, I think would be really pretty. Okay, this guy right here is a Windwalker red salvia, and I'm obsessed with it. I love it, but it's massive. So it might get moved to the back in the new back garden too. don't know if it'll get moved this year, but eventually it will. And I think it could actually be divided into multiple plants at this point because it's several years old. Okay, in this low growing area, we have a lot of daffodils coming up. We've got some sedum in a few places. This is sedum over here too. And up front, we have a bunch of yarrow that I had transplanted last year, last fall. And where it used to be, just didn't get enough sun. Oh, it's going to get a lot of sun here. So I'm interested to see how it does this year. I'm just kind of, it's starting to put on a lot of new growth already. So I'm just kind of coming through and pulling on it. Now, Yarrow doesn't like to be fertilized, so we won't be adding anything to that. I've also got some verbena. That's right there. So I don't know if that's, sometimes it's a homestead verbena. I have it in pink and purple. Sometimes it comes back, sometimes it doesn't. So I'll cut it back instead of pulling it to see if it happens to come back this year. Back here, I do have some Foxglove that I planted, Foxglove seedlings, and they got hit pretty bad with the temps. But as long as their roots are okay, they should come back for me. Okay, so over here is a mess of stuff. Let's see if we can get in here. I'm going to start with this verbena. I'm just going to cut it back down to the ground in hopes it is putting off new growth. So maybe this homestead verbena will come back this year. I hope the purple comes back. I really like the purple more so than the pink. But if the pink comes back, I won't be sad. Okay, and this is a kaleidoscope Abelia, but I am going to cut back some, especially the part that's coming forward. Now, I don't actually suggest cutting on your shrubs all that much right now. I just need to be able to see. But this Abelia could use a nice cutback. Okay, there's a lot of verbena coming back here, y'all. Well, that's nice. What a lovely surprise. Okay, over here I also have some iris. So I'm going to cut back my verbena a little bit more. Or not verbena, Abelia. And the Abelia hasn't really started putting off that much new growth yet. Okay, and then the iris back here, I think it's called Peach Jam. And I do have a retro equinox back here. It's kind of hidden. Okay, over here, back here we have another iris, bearded iris. And this iris is called Discovered Treasure. It's very pretty. All my iris are from Shriner's Iris Gardens. Okay, moving this direction, I have a couple of coneflowers, wild berry powwow coneflowers here. And then over here is nepeta. And definitely have to get in here and really start cutting back the nepeta because it's already putting off a ton of fresh growth. So watch this. When I pull this away, you're going to start seeing all the green in there. Look at that. So definitely got to get in here. This nepeta is going to fill up quick. I think I'm going to also take off a little bit of this barberry. This is an orange rocket barberry. Very, very thorny. Okay, looks better. This nepeta will start growing like crazy. It can handle a little bit of cool weather. There is an iris back here. I don't recall what variety it is. All right, this is a rush, a soft rush grass, blue mohawk grass, and it's going to get moved this year. Behind it is Russian sage that I'm going to cut really far back. And this usually goes pretty wild. The Russian sage does. And I like it. It's very soft and romantic plant. It does flop, so as I'm cutting, you'll start to see some twine and stuff like that. You know, I've never cut back this rush. Let's try it. I don't love it anyway, so if it doesn't work out, I'm not going to be sad. Cut it back to about 12 inches. All right, and then now you can see the Russian sage better back here. Oops, I just cut my twine. It's okay, we'll repair it later. All right, sweet, wow. Be interesting to see what happens with this rush. It's like the center of it is like, it's a lot of dried. This is 2 plants. They were super tiny when I started with them. I wouldn't mind digging those up and moving those to the back. Okay, over here we are now under the smoke bush, and over here is where I had a ton of yarrow, and I pulled that all out and transplanted it, and then I moved a whole bunch of the Helen von Stein Lancier over here because this does get some shade over here. So I thought that that would work out well. And then secondly, I really like its lighter color. I thought would be really nice in this darker area. So you can see that it transplanted really well. Just going through and removing some weeds. There are remnants of yarrow in different places, so just trying to pull those up where I see it. You know it got cold if your weeds are freezing. I am really hoping that this Helen von Stein Lambda really fills in nicely to help suppress weeds. Still got a lot of yarrow back here. I'll try pulling it. I don't think I'll get it all. Just me laying in the garden. Feels good to work up a sweat too. All right, one more little bit, y'all. All right, it's pretty shaded over here. These right here are just old zinnias. And we have the Belinda's Dream rose back here. Now over here, this is nepeta. Actually, this is Calamintha nepeta. Also has a beautiful white flower, so I'm excited to see how it does. And back here may look like weeds, but a lot of it is Iberis or candy tuft that I grew from seed last year coming back. So I'm not going to weed in this area. There's some thing that I do see on weeds, but I don't want to mess with it because I really would like that Iberis to establish itself as a perennial and come back, which looks like it's on its way. All right, let's clean up our mess. Okay, nice and cleaned up. You can see everything that's happening in the yard, which is great. I want to put a trellis right there, I think. I really need to level some of these containers. And then a trellis right in there. And then that container and that container are going to get changed out for two containers I already have that are more sturdy, robust, and larger. It took about 2 hours to do all that. But it looks great. What a great start. Very, very happy. Okay. These gloves are worn out. Whew. I'm feeling really good about it. Very happy. Really good to get in there and see what's going on. Feels great. I'm definitely over this next week and a half, I'm going to try to do the front garden. And then in the back, I don't have as much to do in the back. It's more of like the chrysanthemum and the shade garden areas need to be dealt with. This was the biggest portion, so it feels good to have that accomplished. And I'm glad I got to take you guys along with me. Like I said, just going plant by plant, observing, trimming, doing whatever needs. It felt really good. And I didn't fertilize everything. This is literally just pruning today. So we'll fertilize maybe in the next couple of weeks or so, but feeling really good. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, make sure you like and comment on the video. Every time you like and comment, it helps grow my channel so much. And if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, just drop me an emoji below, letting me know that you made it to the end of the video and you say hi. And be sure to check me out on my social media outlets, including Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I also started my own Patreon page, and that link is in the video description. It's more of a private group, smaller group. There's a free tier and there are paid additional tiers. Each higher tier gets you access to more content. We like to chat on there. I post almost daily about what I'm doing and where I'm at and what's going on. We have chats. You can ask questions and advice. You can post pictures of your garden. There's exclusive videos. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's a really, really fun group. I really love it because it's just all gardening, like nothing else. It's really, really great. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.